All right. So hopefully you found it comfortable to follow the tracing on either the paper or the debugger from the previous 2 videos for this week. Let's now create a new project for our week number 5. And then I would like to do one more extension to the grade application app, which I also promised that I would do it from last week. And then we can go ahead to talk about arrays, but next video. But for now, let's do a new project and then do the little extension. And then I'll do a little bit of tracing together with you also for completeness. Okay, so what I will do is I'm going to right click on the package explorer, the empty pot, and say new Java projects. Okay, let's be consistent with the naming. So week underscore 05. Okay, and then you're going to say next. Okay, nothing to change. And then you say finish. And make sure you say don't create, right? We kept emphasizing it. Don't create the module -info the Java file. Don't create. All right. So that's our week number 5 project over here. Let's set it up very quickly. We need 3 packages as usual. So model for the utility classes, and also we got over here new. Oh, actually, sorry, not class. Beg your pardon. It should be another new package. Console apps. Okay, and one more. JUnit tests. Right, so these are the 3 packages. I would like to start with by creating an extended console application from last week. Especially if you can go back to week number 4 and go under console apps, you can see one of the console apps we created was called Grade Calculator App 2A. Okay, if you double click on that, remember this is the one we used by using a while loop to make sure we actually take exactly 5 lab assignments or 5 assignments for their weights and also their marks, and they will calculate weighted sum. Right? That's what we did last time. And I would like to extend it, make it a little bit more interesting to show you how you can make, how you can develop some extended console application. So just for your knowledge, and then you can feel free to extend it further to play with it, so you can practice even further for the while loop. But for your labs and also for your programming task, you never have to program console application. It's just for your knowledge about how to use while loop in a different context. Okay, so what I will do is I'm going to copy Grade Calculator App 2A. All right, just make sure you copy the right version. Right click, and then I'm going to say copy over here. And then I'm going to right click on console apps over here. Right click, and then you're going to say paste. All right, so that's our App 2A over here. And then right click on the file you just pasted. Let's rename it. Okay. And then let's rename that to be maybe 2B over here. So you can think about it's like an extension. Either you can call it 2B or maybe 3. Let me call it 3. App 3 over here. So it's a different variants for the Grade Calculator app. Okay, and then you'll say finish. And finish over here. All right. Let me close this and then let me collapse week number 4. So now we can fully concentrate on week number 5 over here. All right. Let's double click on this. And let me describe to you verbally about what we want to extend this app into, right? This is something you know pretty well. It will only iterate through exactly 5 times. So as soon as the I over here becomes 6, so that means the state condition is going to be false. So we are not going to run for the 6th time, right? That's something we talked about already. The extension I would like to do is we want to keep asking the user if they actually want to enter another assignments. So they might enter just 1 assignment and say, I don't want to do any more. They might enter 2 assignments and say, I want to quit. They might do 8 assignments and then they say, I want to quit, right? So exactly how many assignments are going to be entered by the user is completely determined by them, not by the program. You can see the limitation for the current program over here, which we copied from last week, was the program itself restricts about how many assignments exactly the user can actually enter, exactly 5, right? If you want to change it to be 10, you have to modify this state condition here, maybe to be 10. However, why not let the user, since we are trying to interact with the user, why don't we give them more freedom about exactly how many assignments they would like to enter? Why don't we do that, okay? So I'm going to use this one here, and then I'm going to show you exactly what there's only a few lines of code you have to add in order to reach this this extended version. Okay, most of the code is going to be the same, but I'm going to highlight the difference to you when I trace it. All right, what I will do is I'm going to put it over here, and let me use the one I really prefer. Let's use a Boolean variable to control the stay or exit of the loop. Let me say Boolean over here, and then I can name it, let's say user wants to continue with another assignment. Okay, let's say initially simply just true. All right, it's a Boolean variable over here, and I simply initialize the value to be true. Okay, and then I simply copy this variable name over here, and then I'm going to replace the state condition here. Rather than being less than or equal to 5, meaning that it's going to execute exactly 5 times. Now I want to say as long as the user wants to continue, which means as long as the variable here remain to be storing true, I'm going to keep going to another iteration, right? That's very easy to understand. Of course, it would be very important for you to update this variable over here. So that means the value over here should not stay true always. Otherwise, you got infinite loop. Right, you want the loop to exit and terminate at some point. So at some point, you will expect this variable over here to become false. That's what you would expect. Okay, so when should it become false? It should become false if the user say I want to quit. Okay, so what I will do is at the end of the loop over here. So basically, after the user enter every assignments, at the end we just confirm with that. Do you want to enter another new assignments? That's basically the idea. All right. So here we can prompt the user again, sys out. Okay, I'm gonna say, would you like to continue? Okay, and then we can simply just yes. It's very flexible over here. We can simply write for yes. Otherwise, no. Basically, the user, they have to really type exactly Y in order to say that they actually want to continue. Otherwise, if they type anything else, anything other than Y, that means they don't want to continue. All right, that's the idea. All right. Of course, you can modify the prompt a little bit more if you wish, for your particular implementation. Okay, it's a question to the student, to the user, and then we can say the string value over here. Let's say answer from the user is simply assigned to input dot next line over here. Okay, input the next line. All right, so that's the answer that would be from the user. All right, and then we want to update whether the user wants to continue or not to be the truthfulness of whether this answer here is equal to Y, content equal. If it is not equal to it, that means they say no. All right. So how do we compare a string? We talked about it previously. You should use the equals method. You should say answer dot equals over here. Let's say this is the only acceptable answer for yes. Oh, sorry. Let me go back there. So that should be the only acceptable answer for yes. Okay. Otherwise, anything other than capital Y should be considered as a no. All right. Okay. So now let's see. I think that will work. Let's take a look to see if there's anything wrong. Otherwise, if there's anything wrong, we fix it. If there's nothing wrong, then we trace it. All right. Let me now launch the application over here. Oh, by the way, for this new extended version here, we assume the user should enter at least one assignment. Remember, the user wants to continue is simply just true at the in the beginning. So that means in the for the very first time we check the state condition over here, it's going to be true. So we'll execute the body of the loop for at least once. Let's try that. Enter your name, Jackie. What's the weight of your assignment 1? Okay, let's say 20%. And then let's say I got 54. And then the program doesn't seem to work, does it? What's wrong over here? Remember, after we say, would you like to continue? I say yes. Actually, I didn't even get a chance to say yes. Remember, after I enter 54, right? It's pretty much like entering in line number 29, right? After I enter 54 for the marks over here. And then I should expect would you like to continue? That's this message over here. That's correct. However, I should be given a chance to either say why or something else, right? But I wasn't given a chance, and then you can see the program has terminated already over here. Okay, so that's something I deliberately try to make the mistake, and then I would like to mention to you. It's a known issue to the scanner usage over here, especially when you're trying to read a string after reading integers. That's a very special, subtle, and also very tricky case you want to pay attention to. But the good news is, since we only use a console application to really show you some effects on the console, whenever you do your labs and also whenever you do your programming test, you never have to fiddle with the console application. Just for your knowledge, right? If you want to use a console application for Java for your future developments. Okay, so here is something I would like to mention explicitly. Okay, so let me put a comments over here just to remind you. Okay, so this is a known issue of scanner. Okay, when a string, which means input.new line, exactly what I put over here. Next line, sorry, not new line. Input.next line. When a string is expected to be read after an integer, well, meaning that input.next int over here. Okay, in that case, what should we do? You can see this is where we read the first integer. This is where we read the second integer, and after these, we want to read a string, from the console, right? Whenever you got such a situation where reading the string happens strictly after reading the integer, so what should you do? Okay, we must consume the lines for every integer reading. So what do I mean by that? Okay, so that's why I say it's subtle and tricky. Okay, so now after this earlier integer reading, we must say the following. You simply say input dot next line. Okay, so this is to consume the new line character. All right, and then you know what? I wouldn't really dive any deeper to explain this. It's very subtle. So I don't really expect you to really understand exactly what this line is, but just remember, whenever you want to program for console application, you have to make sure if you're trying to read a new line over here, let's say answer, like a string, after reading integers, you must actually put things like this. Okay, but that's only for the case where you want to program console application. All right, and then for the second integer read that also happened before, we had to say input dot next line over here. Okay, I would say that's very subtle, but that's something you should know if you program in Java. All right, let's now try again over here. Let's try again. Let's say Jackie, and then 20%, and then 54. You can see now it does not really terminate prematurely. It asks me, would you like to continue? Let's say I say anything other than Y, capital Y. I might say no. In that case, that's good. You simply say assignment 1. All right. Let me do another one. If I launch this again, Jackie over here, let's say 10%, 23, 20%. Oh, you know what? I forgot. Sorry, 20 over here is something other than Y. So that's why it's considered as no. Okay, I gotta be careful. Every time I need to say either Y or something other than Y. So 20 over here is really considered as no. Okay, let me do it again. I didn't use my program properly. Okay, let's say Jackie over here. Let's say 10%, and then 20. I want to continue. I'll say capital Y. All right. So now assignment 2, and then I can say 20%. I will say also 10%. Maybe I got 34, and then I do want to continue. I'll say Y. You can see now it's assignment 3, right? You will keep adding, so it can be any number of assignment. Let me just show you why. Let me just do only for this one. 10%, and also maybe 34, and then I do want to continue, so now it's assignment 4, and then I can say 10%, maybe 33, and then I want to continue, so assignment 5, right? 10%, 78, I want to continue, capital Y. Assignment 6, maybe I want to say 10%, and then 89, and then I do want to continue. Okay, assignment 7, right? Almost there. And then I can say 10%, maybe 25, and then I do want to continue. Assignment 8. This is like the maximum capacity from the previous version, right? So now if I say, let's say 10%, and also 88, and I do want to continue. So now I can go on to assignment 9. So you can see I can go indefinitely. As for me as a user, I can specify as many as I like until I actually put something other than capital Y. So that's the beauty about this extension over here, right? Let me just do assignment 9, and then you pretty much get my point. And then I can say maybe 10%, and then 77. Okay, I don't want to continue. I just put anything other than capital Y. I can say no. All right. So that's about assignment 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, you can see. I think that there's a legacy error actually. So you can see after assignment 5, we didn't have anything to really format the output properly. Let me take a look over here. I think it is because over here, if I is less than or equal to 4 over here. Okay, I think the reason that we put this block of code over here is because we know from the previous version exactly 5 lines should be printed for the breakdown. But now since we don't know exactly how many, I would say let's just print out the new line unconditionally, just for simplicity, right? We don't need this anymore. Let me just comment this out. I would say, since in this extended version, we don't know. Okay, let me just say in this extended version, the number of assignments is indefinite. Indefinite in the sense that it will only be terminated. I mean, will only stop asking more from the user when the user say anything other than capital Y, right? All right, so I'm just going to print out a new line every time. All right, so that's what I will do. Okay, you can. I'm not gonna waste your time writing again, but you can definitely try to really go for maybe 8 assignments or 9 assignments, and then you will see maybe 10 assignments. Maybe you can try, and you will see exactly every line will be every iteration is gonna be followed by a new line character. All right, that will work. Okay, so that's about this program here, and that what I would like to do now is to trace it very quickly together with you on the paper, and then for the debugger, I'll leave that as a exercise for you, but I highly recommend you actually do it rather than me spoon feeding you doing it. All right, so let's now switch to iPad to do some quick tracing. Let's say this is the interaction pattern we would like to have to test. So let's say the user wants to enter 1, 2, and 3 assignments in total. For the first one, weight 10%, 44, and then they say Y, capital Y to continue. And then the second one, 15 and 54, and say Y to continue for the third one. And then after entering the third one, weight 20 and also mark 64, they're going to say anything but capital Y. In that case, they will exit from the loop. So we're going to trace this exactly. And you can extrapolate from that. So if you got more than maybe got 8 iterations or maybe even more, it's kind of indefinite. As soon as the user enters something other than capital Y, he's going to exit, but going to be the same. Okay, let me just use this one as an example to show to you. All right, so we're going to do, basically, you can see before the loop, let me just say that quickly. Before the loop, over here, we are simply just going to initialize the various variables. The name here is not really important for the logic, so just assume, I enter Jackie there. So I'm going to omit this part here. And then we actually got different variables here. It's really important for you to realize we got weighted sum over here, we got report, and also we got I over here. So all these variables, they actually got their scope. Remember we talked about the scope. Their scope is going to be covering basically the rest. Also, there's another variable. Let me just talk about it as well. Another variable here is the user wants to continue. So all these 4 variables have their scope for the rest of the method, right? So you can think about that's the scope over here. The entire method over here, which means you can use these variables typically for accumulation between the iterations. All right, that's the scope. And then let's now see this. Okay, I can simply just try to trace them as well. So I'm gonna get one variable over here. So weighted sum. Weighted sum. Okay, and then we also got report. I'm gonna write a report separately. That one's gonna be a long string. And also we got integer variable I. And also we got, this is very critical variable, the user wants to continue. I'll say user wants to continue. Okay, you can see user wants to continue, just write it in short. And then for the result, I'm going to put a result over here. Okay, it's going to be keep accumulating. Okay, over here. Okay, now we are ready to trace. After all these, you can see what's going to be the initial value. Let's put it here. So weighted sum is going to be 0.0 over here. Also, report is going to be empty string. I is going to be 1. Okay, it's like a counter for your assignments. And also, user wants to continue, initialize to be true. All right. Okay, so now we are ready to start. Before we enter the first iteration, we're going to check to see if the while, if the state condition over here, user wants to continue is true. It is true indeed. So that means we're going to execute the body of the loop over here. Exactly, right? Okay, I'm just going to trace the critical line for you. You're going to prompt the user. You're going to prompt the user over here, and also reading the weights, and also prompt the user again and reading the marks. Right? You're going to be exactly 10 and 44. Okay, so for that part, I'm going to omit. Okay, so 10 and 44. You know what? Let me put it here 10 and also 44. Okay, over here. And then we're going to say report is going to be again augmented assignments. So result is going to be assignment. We're going to say A over here, assignments, and then I value is here 1, assignment 1, and then square brackets. The marks will be 10, and also the weights will be over here. The marks will be 44. Comma, right? You can see comma over here, space, and then 10%. So this is the accumulated string so far, right? You can see the 10 and 44, which I just showed to you. And then with some new line, okay, of course. And then the weighted sum is actually going to be calculated accordingly, okay? So weighted sum at the moment is 0.0. It's going to be 0.0 plus the marks, which is 44 multiplied by 10%. Which would be whatever the weight it is 10. 10 divided by 100 will be 0.1. Okay, whatever value it is, you can, well, it's easy, just 4.4, right? So that means the weighted sum is going to be 4.4 over here so far. And then we're going to increment the I. So that's going to be incremented from 1 to 2, okay? And then would you like to continue, okay? So this is really important. So you can see we're going to read a line from the user, and the user is going to enter Y. So that means the answer over here is going to be capital Y. And then answer dot equals Y, right? That's how you compare string value using dot equals. This is going to give you true. Meaning that user wants to continue over here is going to remain to be true. But I can think about it simply reassigned to be the same value, true, over here. All right, so far I think you're okay. And then we're going to see if we should go for the second iteration. And now, user wants to continue, and it's actually true over here. So that means indeed, we're going to go for the second time over here. Okay, second time, the green one. And then we're going to read 15 and 54. So 15 for the weights, and also 54 for the marks. And then we're going to accumulate a string. So I'm just going to put a new line. There should be a new line over here, but I'm just going to put it in the same line. You get my idea. So A, assignments, and then what's the value for I? It's now 2. So assignment 2. And then the it's going to be 54, comma, and then what's the weights? The weight is 15%, right? You can see 15. So 15%. All right, so far so good. And then the weighted sum over here is actually going to be plus. Okay, you can see previously we got 4.4. So it's going to be whatever this is plus 54 multiplied by 0.15, right? I'm not going to do the calculation, but you can imagine this is going to be incremented into some value over here. You can try that. Okay, I encourage you to try this on the debugger so you can see exactly what that value will become in the debugger, right? But for now, let me focus on the logic. And then when we get to this part over here, so the input read the next line read from the user will be capital Y. In that case, answer will just be Y equals Y, which still be true, meaning that this will just be replaced by just another true. All right. Now here comes the critical part. So now we're gonna go back to the beginning of the loop over here, and then we're gonna check to see whether we should go for the third iteration. We should, because true over here is gonna be true over here, right? And then that means we're going to just enter the body of the loop for one more time, the third time, right? And you're gonna see 20 and 64, and that one for sure is going to be 20 here and also 64 here. So when you try to execute this line over here, it's going to accumulate by one more. It's going to be assignments, and the value for I. Oh, you know, for the previous iteration, I forgot. Since we got I++ for the previous one, right? So you're gonna increment from 2 to 3. Okay, I just forgot. Okay. But if you use a debugger, of course, debugger wouldn't forget. But you know, it's this definitely advantage of tracing on the paper. You should really try to do it by yourself as well. All right. So now the current value for assignment I should be 3. Okay. So assignment 3, and then the marks will be 64, and then comma, and then what's the weights? Weight should be 20%. Okay. No surprise over here. And then for the weighted sum, is actually going to be whatever value it is from previously, and then plus, and then we're going to get 64 multiplied by the weights will be 20 divided by 100, right, will be 0.2, whatever value it is. It's going to replace this one here by another value. Again, you can use the debugger to check the intermediate value. I do encourage you to do so. Finally, we're going to read in another input from the user. In this case, it will be no. Okay, so it's going to be no over here. So now you got answer over here. It's like a no over here. Conceptually, is no the same as Y equals Y? Is it the case? No, it should be false. So that means user wants to continue is going to be assigned to false. That means this part here is going to be replaced by false. Finally, when we actually go back to the state condition here, user wants to continue is now false, meaning that we're going to exit from the loop, right? So we're going to go into here, because as soon as the user wants to continue becomes false, that means we shouldn't really accept any more assignments for calculation. All right, and then you're going to print out exactly the report, which will include 1, 2, and 3 assignments, and then whatever weighted sum that we calculated previously. That'll be the last calculated result. Okay, so that'll be how we can trace the program. So hopefully you can see the idea. I think the critical thing for you to see really is about how we can use the Boolean variable over here to control whether we should stay or exit from the loop. That's a very important lesson for you. Okay, I want to conclude this example here by posing to you one challenging question. Okay, the same code over here, and now here's my question. Remember, there is one line over here about user wants to continue should be updated by the latest read answer from the user, right? So here's my question. What if I delete this line over here? What will be the consequence? So here is the question for you. Okay, question. What if line number 36 was deleted? What will be the consequence of that? All right, you want to think about it, or you can even try to trace this consequence maybe on the paper to see. You can still use the same input. One here, and also one here, right? You can still use this input here. Try to trace it to see whether you're going to get the same behavior, meaning that after reading the last last input here being no, something other than capital Y, are you going to exit from the loop or not? Right? That's the question. Okay. So hints over here will be trace. You can try to trace either on the paper or maybe using the debugger. Okay. And I can tell you the answer, but you shouldn't just be so happy with what the answer is. The answer is simply we're gonna end up being in kind of like an infinite loop, which means we can never end the calculation. However, what exactly is that gonna happen? You want to trace that by yourself. Once you do the tracing, you will see exactly what happened. Okay, I'm gonna tell you, gonna let you do this optional exercise here, but I think it's highly recommend you actually do it. All right, so I think it's good that we did this extension over here that showed to you how you can extend your console application to be more interesting. So you can keep asking the user for something until they decide not to give you more stuff. All right, so starting from the next video, we'll start introducing to you arrays and try to manipulate that using loops.